Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Welcome once again to Chaitanya Studio video lecture series of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. So, in this video lecture, I will give you or I will teach you the leftover portion of staffing unit. In earlier video session, I just left from the portion of recruitment. There I mentioned how recruitment process happened in any organization. Now, let me continue with the leftover objectives of this particular unit, that is orientation and placement, remuneration, performance appraisal process and promotion and transfer. These processes are going to covered in this session, and the leftover portion of recruitment process will be covered in this video sessions. So, let us begin with the leftover portion of the recruitment process. There are various factors which affect the recruitment. Let me give a revision kind of thing. What exactly recruitment? It is the collection of application or creation a pool of suitable candidate in the organization or for a requisite job. So, through that particular recruitment process, when we go through in the organization, there are various factors which have impact on this particular recruitment process, and these are internal factors and external factors. So, definitely internal factors are something related within the organization and external factors something related with the out of organization. In the internal factors, it is recruitment policy, like we have to recruit people within a year or after 3 years, this kind of policy if there. So, it is impacting your recruitment process. Sometimes this human resource planning also impact on the recruitment process. Next, the size of firm, the cost to the firm and growth and expansion plan also impact the recruitment of any organization. If it requires a lot of cost, then generally organization think not to go for the robust recruitment process, and if there is growth and expansion plan, then they decide that just go to robust recruitment process. So, it is something opposite thing. When it occur more cost to organization, then they shrink their recruitment policies. When there are growth and expansion, then they expand their recruitment policy. So, these are some factors which impact the recruitment process. Now, move to on external factors. It is something demand and supply factor, labor market factor, unemployment rate in the organization, competitors and legal consideration. So, it is something related with the out of organization factors. In supply and demand factor, if there is more number of people outside the organization who can fill a position in the organization, means if there is more supply, then the recruitment process can be shrink. They cannot go for advertisement in the newspaper. They just call by the reference that this is the vacancy in the organization. So, if it is the supply, fine, and if the demand is more in the organization, so they have to fetch the candidate from far away from the organization. Just in this manner, supply and demand concept affect the recruitment policy of the organization or the recruitment process of the organization. Now, next is the labor market. If there is vast labor market, then also there is no need to go for robust recruitment process. Similarly, if unemployment rate is more, then you can get candidates very easily. Right? So, that is why no need to go for the robust recruitment process. In case of competitor, The recruitment process works like this. If competitor hires more number of employees year on year basis to improve the efficiency of the organization, then the other firm should also go for the same if they are to survive in the market. So, competitors are impacting the recruitment process of any organization. Next is legal consideration. Sometimes it is bound by the legal consideration that any organization must have some number of employees. If it is a big organization, as per the Industrial Act, it could be more than 500. So, this kind of legal consideration has to consider that if any organization is expanding, so they have to abide by the legal consideration. So, this was some internal and external factor which may have impact on the recruitment process. Now, have a look on the types and sources of recruitment. So, it is we can say there are broadly two kinds of sources of recruitment. First is internal, next is external. The internal recruitment sources has transfers, promotions, re-employment of employees. It's mean when you are having a vacancy in one organization, or any manager is having vacancy in organization, he just take the application of internal employee too, which may be due to the reason of transfer and promotion. Then they may take the decision whether to hire a person from outside or may fill the vacancy as a result of transfer and promotion. So, collecting the application of a candidate through the transfer and promotion will be the internal source of recruitment. Similarly, the re-employment of ex-employee. If any employees particularly has left the company many years ago, he may be recalled whenever they feel that there is a requirement which can best suits to that particular candidate who has left the organization earlier. Now, move to the external factor, external sources of recruitment. So, this is, it could be through the application can be collected through the advertisements. It could be your vacancy can be kept at the employment exchanges. There are various employment agencies too. You can go for recruitment in educational institutions. Also, maybe through the recommendation of some people, the vacancy can be filled up or the application can be taken up. Then some labor contractors are there. So, labor contractors, they are having pool of laborers or workforce. Whenever any requirement arises in the organization, this particular source is a very rich source of main force. Fine. So, this was the sources of recruitment. Now, move to the next topic, which is the which generally takes place after the recruitment, that is selection process. So, selection process is a picking up the right candidate with the prerequisite qualifications and capabilities to fill the jobs in the organization. In the particular staffing, I told sometimes people or student confuse staffing with hiring. So, hiring is something, it is the selection process. So, it is the picking up the right candidate with the suitable qualifications and for the capabilities which can better suits to a particular job. So, this is the selection process. The selection process is quite lengthy and complex. It is a sequence-wise process in the organization having various steps before making the final selection. A candidate who has applied for the job is to pass through the interview round, and through the interview he is just got selected. But this interview happens in the various steps. So, this is said that particularly selection process is a lengthy process and is a complex process because it possesses several kind of screening rounds, several tests. Fine. So, we will have a glance what kind of steps a selection process has just now. This is the step by step process of selection process in the organization. First, preliminary interview is taken. So, preliminary interview, it is something, it is the initial inspection of the qualification or capabilities of a person. So, this is something when the application comes through the recruitment, there is a scrutiny in the initial level, which is the generally that whether this will be this particular candidate is matches to our job profile or not. Suppose you are having vacancy of in any engineering department, and if you get something any application from the soft skill person, so this is the mismatch for of the candidate. This kind of application will be the mismatch. So, in this manner, you just when you just go for this preliminary interview, you just find that a particular candidate although may be called up, but he is taken an interview in a manner that he is screened out in the beginning, so that later on steps can be taken in healthy manner. Second is when preliminary interviews is done, then particular candidate is given a particular format of application, in that he just write his name, his particular where residential profile, and the references also he mentioned in this particular application blank, and there are general kind of information is asked to get filled in this particular application. So, the second step is the going through the application blanks. A blank application is there, the candidate who is passed through the preliminary interview gonna to fill this particular application blank. Now, next step in the selection is written test. So, there are various kind of written test which is taken for a different type of jobs. Sometimes it is personality test, sometimes it is an intelligence test, sometimes it could be the psychological test. So, depend on the type of profile, these tests are conducted in any organization. Now, next is employment interview. This is the final interview which is going to be conducted for the final selection of a candidate. In this, various kind of questions are asked by the interviewer to the prospective employee or the candidate who is facing the interview. In this employment interview, overall judgment of the capabilities is taken care of. Sometimes stressful questions are also asked in interview session. Whatever the job profile requirement, whatever kind of work to be done, based on that something is asked in this interview. Next is medical examination. In this particular step, the physical profile of any candidate is checked. Sometimes in some companies it is mandatory, but in some organization this particular step can be skipped up, can be cut down. The next step is appointment letter. When the employee fulfill all the requirements, they pass through the interviews also, he might have cleared the medical examination too, he has been given appointment letter. In some of books you may have find that selection process also have one step, that is reference check. So, sometimes in some organization the reference check means to whom any person can be talked regarding your profile, how is your personality, what kind of work you can do, and generally these references are given from the past organizations departmental heads. It could be anybody else, but it should be when you are applying for a job, it should be the particular reference should be from your past organization. So, this was the step by step process of selection process. Now, move to the next particular process, that is orientation and placement. I mentioned earlier too that when a particular candidate is selected, he is now well fitted in the organization. The next step is placement. So, in placement, it is said to be a process of fitting the selected person to the right job or place. So, this is placement, and next to this placement, orientation is done. What is orientation? Orientation is to familiarize a particular selected candidate to the company norms. It could be many things. It means giving a training that particular candidate regarding your particular working conditions, job profile. So one by one I am taking what kind of knowledge he should have while giving orientation program. So it is generally employees layout, types of organization structure, departmental goals, organizational layout, general rules and regulations, standing orders and grievance system. So I have written these topics. It's mean what kind of culture any organization have will be depicted by the department standing orders, and generally what kind of grievance system have, what kind of organizational layout it has. So generally the things means when any candidate is placed in the organization, he is supposed to give orientation program, which is also termed as induction program. In this induction program or orientation program, various things are made aware to that candidate, and it is about the employees layout, organizational layout, rules and regulations of the organization. It is also about some standing orders. So these things are given so that employee just get knowledge or just become acquainted with all the functions in the organization, or just aware who are their that particular candidates, employees or peer candidate. So this thing is given through the orientation program. Now this was all about the orientation and placement. Now move to next process of staffing. So staffing is not only hiring, not only recruiting, but it is manpower planning, recruiting, selection, orientation and induction. Next to this, now I have come to training program. So training is a process of enhancing the skills, capabilities, knowledge of employee for doing a particular job. It is enhancement of skills, capabilities and knowledge. And training process molds the thinking of employee, leads to quality performance employee. It is mentioned that when the skills and capabilities and knowledge is upgraded, so now that particular candidate better do a job. So ultimately it leads to quality performance of employee. When you get some some kind of knowledge, then you can do a prior work in better manner. Fine. So in this manner it molds the thinking also. So it is very essential to give training to employees of organization. Training can be given at the time of orientation and also later on also while they are performing on the jobs, because with the passes of time the training need arises. Several changes happens in the technology, several changes happen in the organization structure, the authority responsibility relationship changes. So this leads to the need arise of training in the organization. Definitely it is a continuous process and never ending process, as environment throw challenges towards the organization and organization just cope up to those challenges with the help of training. Whatever training they are giving to their employees become capable and they get certain skills, capabilities and knowledge. In that manner they are able to face each and every kind of challenge in the environment. Now understand the importance of organization, why it is important in the organization. Some of idea you might have got when I explain the definitional part of training. So another importance of training are it familiarizes new employees with the work and work conditions. So people get familiarity with the work and working condition, which is done definitely through the induction and orientation program. Now, it enhances the knowledge of existing employee. So, sometimes it may happen that people may forget forget to abide by the rules and regulations. It may happen that they create their own way of doing things. So, just to recall those employees that this is the way to do the job, it is given the knowledge to existing employee. On the job training is given just for a recalling purpose that you need to do this work in this manner. This is talking about in the long term sense. It also helps to understand the updation and amendments in the technology. I mentioned earlier, when there is changes in the external environment and technology, there is a requirement of training in the organization, because people in the organization may not be acquainted with the skills and capabilities to deal with those technologies. That's why training requirement in the organization arises. Now, it prepares employees for higher level of responsibility. This point need to understand, which is something related with the later coming topics for transfer and promotion. So, exactly when employees are given more responsibilities, so in order to accomplish those responsibilities, it requires training. They are given the knowledge to do or to fulfill higher responsibilities. It is only possible when they are given the training to do those tasks which are given as a promotion or which are given as a transfer. Now, methods of training, there are generally two types of methods of training: on the job training and off the job training. On the job training generally given within the premises, and it is given in the particular job setup where procedures are carried out. So, it is given there. So, these kind of particular on the job training are job rotation, coaching and temporary promotions. So, it is something related with the learning by doing. So, people on the job, they just take experience of doing things in the working scenario and they just learn some skills through this on the job training. Next is off the job training. This off the job training generally given out of the premises and far from the company. Generally, this kind of training is given to higher level of management, while this on the job training generally given to the lower level of management or shop floor workers, and this in off the job training generally it is given far away from the premises, given to high level of managerial people, and it is given in the form of workshop, seminar, conferences, role play, incident method, vestibule training and business games. So, these are the certain methods of the job training. Now, let us have a look on next process in the staffing, that is remuneration. So, remuneration refers to the reward or compensation which is distributed to an employee based on working capabilities and performance. So, remuneration is always paid whatever efforts, whatever work done by candidate in the organization. So, in lieu of work, certain payment will be made, and these payment or this remuneration will be done in different forms, like remuneration adds basic salary along with bonuses and more. Many more gifts and etc. will be incorporated in remuneration term. Generally, remuneration are given in two forms. There are time rate method and piece rate method. In time rate method, the remuneration is given based on working hours, like weekly, monthly. In this manner, the payment is done. So, whatever working hours any employee did work, he is paid based on those working hours. Next is piece rate method. In this particular method, the remuneration is offered based on the amount of work done. The activities have been accomplished, based on that the remuneration is given. Generally, lower level of employees are decided based on the time rate method, and higher level of managers remuneration decided based on piece rate methods. Now, move to the next process in the staffing, that is performance appraisal. It can be also termed as performance evaluation of employees in the organization. It is the definitional part of performance appraisal. It is also the judgment of employees' performance in a job based on considerations other than productivity alone. So, in performance appraisal, there are various parameters upon which any candidate will be evaluated. It is not only the productivity but anything else like behavior, like the teamwork capabilities, etc. Human behavior skills are also assessed in performance appraisal. So, why performance appraisal is done? Why there is a need of performance appraisal in the organization? Why do any manager evaluate his subordinates in the organization? Or performance appraisal remains for all level of manager. It is done due to the reason because it assesses employees' training requirement. Definitely, how the training requirement will be assessed? When the actual performance of candidate does not meet to expected performance, then there will be a gap. And if there is a gap, so there must be some reason that that particular candidate is failure to finish that task. The manager find the reason. What is the reason that this particular employee is unable to meet those standards? If he is unable to meet those standards due to incapability, then a training program is scheduled just to make them acquainted with the requisite capabilities. Now, it also done in order to creation a criteria for organizational reward, like when the performance of each employee is evaluated in the organization, the manager comes to know that X person is doing better job than Y. Then X person should be given more reward compared to Y person. So, in that manner, it acts as a creation of a criteria for organizational reward. Next is designing the ground for personal issues like salary increases, promotions, disciplinary action, bonuses. When the performance appraisal is conducting on regular basis, manager come to know that this person is not going according to the discipline, or there is a problem with this candidate. If he finds that the reason that this particular candidate is creating a problem to other candidates too, he may take some disciplinary action. So, performance appraisal may also significant in taking disciplinary action. Manager can show that you are lacking on these parameters, these human behavioral skills. You are not coordinating with your team members. So, in that manner, he may given some punishments also. So, in that sense, it is contributing towards the disciplinary action. And in the same manner, I mentioned, if X person is performing well, he should be given salary increases than Y person who is not contributing or who is not doing a good job in the organization. Now, next is the why performance appraisal is done. It is creation of opportunity for organizational diagnosis and development. This is the very significant point, as this particular appraisal gives the reason why people are not working. When they just look into the results of a particular candidate, they find the reasons. So these reasons helps to diagnose the problem within the organization and help, and in order when these problems are cleared up, that help to organizational development. So this was the why performance appraisal is done, why candidates are evaluated in the organization. Now next to look on the next topic of this unit, that is promotion and transfer. As I have given a brief of this particular process earlier too, the promotion is, it is a shift to higher job with higher salary and demanding bigger responsibility. So when promotion is done, there is shifting a person from one job to another, that requires more demanding responsibility, and that person is paid higher salary for doing that particular job. And like one example I can say that when a particular person, like from a managerial level to promoted to the next level of like he just made to the GM. So it is something shifting, he is promoted to the next level, their responsibility more, the salary will be more. So in that manner it is a kind of incentive for particular candidate. While in transfer there is a shifting the workers and transferring them to different work unit and branches of the same organization. In this transfer there is only mere shifting, there is no addition of the responsibility, and these generally transfer are done as a penalty or a punishment for the workers. Now have a look on the particular promotion topic. So it is a movement to a position in which responsibility and prestige increased. It is automatically increase in the responsibilities and prestige, as I given that manager is promoted to the general manager. So in that manner it is increase in the responsibilities and prestige. And according to Scott Clouthier, a promotion is the transfer of an employee to a job which pays more money or one that carries some preferred status. So understood, I have mentioned earlier too that responsibilities will increase, payment will increase. In that manner promotion happens in the organization. There are various purposes of organization. It could be act as a motivation for employees. It also helps to attract and retain the service of qualified employees in the organization. It acts as a reward for the efficiency in the organization, and it helps, promotion helps to fill up higher vacancy within the organization. Next, it also creates the loyalty among the employees. If they are promoted, it increase their morale and increase the sense of belongingness among the employees. It impresses upon others for opportunities, like when regular promotions are done in the organization, other candidates out of the organization also thinks that there are opportunities in the organization. That's why they just prefer to apply in such kind of companies which generally gives promotions. Now there are various types of promotion, which is horizontal, vertical and dry. In horizontal promotion, generally there is no much difference in the job profile, something just junior supervisor level to senior supervisor level. This kind of promotion is horizontal promotion. But in vertical promotion there is difference in the job responsibilities and status also. While in dry promotion there is just no, although the salary increase, responsibility increase, but it doesn't suit much to that candidate. It is, that's why it is a dry promotion. It does not entice very much to that candidate. Fine. And now the purpose, generally the purpose of transfer is, I am going to discuss as I discuss the purpose of promotion. I mentioned transfers are generally done as a disciplinary action, but not only this, sometimes if there is a vacancy in the organization, it could be filled through the transfer. Thus, the need and purpose of transfer is to meet the organization need. It satisfies also the employee's need. Suppose one job is monotonous to a person, then he is transferred to another person. Then this satisfies that particular employee's need. Now the job is more interesting due to the result of transfer. It is better utilization of employee's capability. If a person is transferred to another job, so you can or any manager can use his capability, his skills in better manner. Adjust the workforce in the organization. Next, to provide relief to employee by giving the transfers, employees also remain satisfied and they find bit of relief. And last, I mentioned it is something to punish employee. So this was all about the transfer. There are various types of transfer also, which are in general. These are promotion transfer, shift transfer, replacement transfer, remedial transfer and versatility transfer, which are generally taken in the organization. So in this session, I just mentioned various types of recruitment. Next, I also explained like this transfer and promotion process earlier, and this in this particular unit I just engrossed all the function which particular staffing process carried in the organization. Thank you. Meet you soon.